So today what we're going to be working on is solving equations. We're going to just be solving right now linear equations. Those are degree 1. So I would like you to put me on pause and do the try this. There's 2 of them. Okay, this one here is combining like terms, and this side over here is identifying opposite operations. Okay, so for the combining like terms, we have 3x and negative 7x. Remember, in order to be like terms, you have to have the same variable. So then we just add or subtract the coefficient. So we have 3 minus 7 is negative 4, so it's negative 4x. And then we have negative 11y and negative 9y. And that becomes negative 11 plus 9 is negative 2y. And then we also have here positive xy and positive 5xy and negative 10xy. So 5 minus 10 is negative 5, so it'll be negative 5xy. Okay, so let's talk about opposite operations. So what operation is opposite of addition? So the opposite operation would be subtraction. And vice versa. The opposite operation for subtraction is addition. The opposite operation for multiplication is division. And vice versa, the opposite operation for division is multiplication. Okay, so let's talk about how we solve equations, which I'm sure you guys are very familiar with. So this should be a review. All right, so the first thing it says, if you need to distribute, make sure you distribute. We're going to combine any like terms we have. And starting with addition or the subtraction, you're going to do opposite the operation. Bring down the remaining terms. Repeat the process until there is only multiplication division left. And then you're going to finish up with division by doing multiplication division by doing the opposite operation. All right, so let's take a look at number 1. So we have negative 15 equals negative 4m plus 5. So remember, our goal when we solve linear equations is always to get our variable to equal a number. Okay, so we want our variable on one side, our number on the other side. So when I look at number 1, I notice I have my variable over here on the right. So I don't want to move that because there's no other variables. But I have a number on the right and a number on the left, so I have to move one of them. Now, I wouldn't want to move the negative 15 because that would mean I'm bringing my variable and my number onto the right side. Remember, I want variable equals number. So move the number over to the left. Now, this is a plus 5. Opposite of addition is subtraction, so we're going to minus 5 to both sides. And then positive 5 minus 5 is 0, so they cancel out. We have negative 15 minus 5 is negative 20. Equals, bring negative 4m down. All right, now I have my letter on one side, my number on the other side, but I have a number in front of my variable. Now remember, negative 4m is really negative 4 times m. So the opposite operation of times is divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 4 on both sides. So negative 4 divided by negative 4 becomes 1. So I'm just left with 1m equals. And negative 20 divided by negative 4 is negative 5. And then I'm done. All right, let's take a look at number 2. All right, so we have negative 12 equals 2 plus 5v plus 2v. So I notice right away that I have 2 of the same variables on the right side together. So I want to combine those like terms first. So let's do that. So we have negative 12 equals 2. So 5v plus 2v is 7v. So now I have a number on both sides here. So I want to move one. I don't want to move the 12, the negative 12, because I don't want to leave nothing over here and put everything on the right side. I want to move the plus 2, the positive 2. So opposite of a positive 2 would be minus 2. So we're going to minus 2. Positive 2 minus 2 is 0. Negative 12 minus 2 is negative 14. Equals, bring this down, 7v. And then we have here times. Opposite of times is divide, so we're going to divide by 7. The 7's reduced to 1, so I get v equals negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Number 3. So number 3 is negative 3 parentheses, so that means I have to distribute the negative 3 to everything inside the parentheses. Equals 14 minus r here. So we're going to distribute the negative 3 first. All right, so we have here negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 times 6r is negative 18r. And that equals 14 minus r. Now, minus r, remember, that's 1r. All right, so now I have letters on both sides and a number on both sides. So let's start with the numbers. We've got to move one of them. Usually it's easier to move the smaller one. So negative 3 is smaller than 14. So I'm going to start with negative 3. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides because opposite of a negative is a positive, or opposite of a minus is a positive. So I'm going to add 3. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So I'm left with, watch the sign, negative 18r. Equals 14 plus 3 is 17 minus 1r. So now I have an r on both sides. I got to move one. I don't want to move the 18 because then I'm going to leave nothing over here, and I don't want to bring everything over to the right side with the 17. So that means I want to move the minus 1r. So we're going to add 1r to both sides. So that cancels. So we have negative 18r plus 1r is negative 17r equals 17. Remember, negative 17r is negative 17 times r. So we're going to divide by negative 17. Watch the signs. So then the negative 17 and negative 17 reduce to 1. And 17 divided by negative 17 is negative 1. Okay, so let's take a look at number 4. Lots of stuff going on in number 4 here. All right, so I have here negative 11 plus 10 parentheses, so that's distribute, right? Think of distributive property. So 10 times a plus 10 equals 4 minus 5. We're going to have to distribute because I have parentheses. 5 times 2a plus 10. Now, be careful. This is a common mistake. Kids want to make this and say, oh, 4 minus 5, well, that's negative 1. You can't do that because, remember, PEMDAS says you have to do distribution first. So we have to distribute the negative 5 before we could subtract. Okay, so let's start with the 10, distributing the 10. So I'm going to bring down negative 11. 10 times a is 10a. And 10 times 10 is 100. Equals 4, distribute the negative 5. So negative 5 times 2a is negative 10a. And negative 5 times 10 is negative 50. All right, now we need to actually combine like terms. Okay, so let's see here. I have negative 11 and 100. That comes out to be 89. Plus 10a. And on the right side, we have 4 minus 50. That's negative 51 minus 10a. All right, let's start with the numbers. Okay. I see I have an 89, a number on one side, and negative 51, a number on the right side. We got to move one of them. All right, so, oh, and just, this is an a here. This is 10a. That's an a, not 100. That's an a. Okay, so I'm going to now add 51, because remember I said it's actually easier to move the smaller one. So negative 51 is smaller than 89. So negative 51 and positive 51 cancel, so I'm left with negative 10a on the right side. So 89 plus 51 is 140 plus 10a. So now I have my letters on both sides, my variable on both sides. I got to move one. So I don't want to move the one on the right because then I'm going to be left with nothing and I'm going to put everything on the left. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to move the 10a over to the right. So this is plus 10a, so I'm going to minus 10a. Watch the signs. So I have 140 equals negative 10a minus 10a is negative 20a. Okay, so now I have negative 20a. Remember, that is multiplication in there. That's negative 20 times a. So divide by negative 20. That's opposite operation. So the 20 is reduced to 1. A equals negative 7. 140 divided by negative 20. All right, and we got one more to do. So that is number 5 here. Oh, I didn't label that. I'm sorry. That is number 5. Okay, so that's number 5. Sorry about that. Okay, so now I notice here that I have two fractions that equal each other. So let's write a little note on the side. Okay, when fractions, well, actually, let me write it like this. Fraction equals fraction. Fraction equal fraction. Okay, cross multiply. Okay, and then you're going to solve. So remember, this is only when fractions equal each other. So I'm going to multiply 10 times x minus 3 equals, and then 9 times x. So distribute the 10. So we get 10x minus 30 equals 9 times x is 9x minus 10x from both sides. Negative 30 equals negative 1x, or just negative x. Remember, I want a positive x, so divide by negative 1, because there's really a 1 in front. Negative 1, so divide by negative 1. So x is equal to positive 30. Okay, so that's it, and we'll practice some more tomorrow. Everyone have a good night.